Okay, doing an informal video today. This is the Harley Benton RB-414, a sort of quasi-Rickenbacker knockoff. Today I'm going to be replacing the neck pickup, and I'm also going to be replacing this bridge. I've mentioned in the other videos previously that I've already replaced the bridge pickup. This is the bridge pickup from a Fender Player Mustang. As you can see, it's not quite the right size for this spot, so I'm probably going to replace that with a jazz bass neck pickup, which I've measured and is the right spacing. That's for another time though. So today I'm going to be replacing the bridge and the pickup. And here's what I've got. This is a Guyker high-mast bridge. Just picked it because it seemed kind of heavy-duty, similar look to, it's kind of have a bit of the vibe of the Rickenbacker. And then we have this Alnikov is not a brand. Alnico 5, no name, unless, yeah, I don't know what all of that is. This is a no-name pickup, which we will check out momentarily. The goal with this project is to do this as cheaply as possible. So I spent less than $50 total on both this pickup, this no-name pickup, and the Guyker bridge. Since this is a cheap base, I didn't want to spend a lot of money on replacement parts. And this pickup is slightly smaller than the existing one, so there's going to be a gap in there. So this is the pickup. Is that a Seymour Duncan logo? I'm not sure. As you can see, this is bent right here. I'm going to try to straighten that out so it looks like the other side. Don't know if that's possible, but I'll give it a shot. And then we'll install this, and hopefully it will be more balanced for all four strings in a way that this stock pickup is not. So that's my first task. I'm also going to be putting on a new bridge, which is going to require filling some new holes. That'll be interesting. But first thing I'm going to do is try to straighten out that bent piece of metal. And then we'll take the strings off and get started. It bends very easily. Much more easily than I thought it would. Anyway, we'll get that straight. So this works the same as the current one, where there's springs loaded on the screws, and then you can actually tighten these screws to raise the pickup. We'll get to that in a little bit. First, I have to take off the strings. So I had mentioned in my previous videos, one of the things that really annoys me about this bridge are these little floating barrels as the string guides, because they're not attached at all. So when you take the strings off, they are very easy to lose. And one of the reasons why I don't want to keep using this bridge. Alright, so this pickup again, bought it on Amazon, had no brand name. The Guyker, I also got this on Amazon, this Guyker bridge. This was $20. Pretty good deal for a bridge. It's very heavy, as it should be for a high-mast bridge. I get ads for Guyker products constantly on Facebook, so that was what led me to just give that a chance. Not having taken it out of the package yet, it looks pretty good. I'm impressed with it, and it definitely can't be much of a step down from this one, even if it's not that great. The interesting thing about it is it only has 4 screw holes instead of 5, even though it's supposed to be a drop-in replacement for a Fender bridge, and they're slightly off-center. So I think maybe they just omitted the fifth one, but that's kind of odd. So we'll have to see what that's all about when we get into it. But I like the overall design. First things first, though, we're going to deal with this pickup. So these screws are just lowering the pickup right now, but once they get all the way unscrewed, it'll drop loose. Screws don't actually line up the way they were supposed to. As we can see here, they're actually measured based on the diagram on Amazon, and it looked like the screw holes were going to line up exactly. This is actually smaller. I don't think it's going to be a problem. The screws are just going to be at a slight angle coming from the pick guard. But I mean, it should still work. I should also just mention, as I have several times before on here, that I don't solder. Let's not even get into it. So you can see from this pickup, there's the yellow wire, and then it splits where it's connected to the pot, and there's an unshielded grounding wire soldered to the bottom, and then the white inner is soldered onto the contact there. So I'm going to cut this wire about in the middle, and I'm going to wind the two. Again, the gray wire is the new pickup. It's got the same grounding and live. So I'm going to just splice them together in the middle in my usual fashion. So that's that. What I'm going to do here is I found out how easy this metal piece is to bend. Because they're not spaced out enough, I'm going to actually just flatten it and extend it out farther. Not quite the same distance, but it's much closer. Oh my god. Wrong screw hole. I'm going to mark with masking tape placement of the current bridge. Here's the Guyker bridge out of the package. I really like how it has the easy access for inserting the strings. Seems pretty well designed, and it's a good amount of weight. Not bad for $20. So I have the masking tape here at the edges of where the original bridge was. Or to put this flush to the front. These marks on the side are where the saddles actually were before. So we have the bridge installed. We have the pickup installed, and you can see there is some gap there, but what are you going to do? So the nice thing about installing a new bridge, even with drilling holes like this, is you have a little bit of leeway because of the intonation adjustment. And now that I look closely, I can see I did get it slightly crooked. here's something that really had not occurred to me. Now I know I can raise the saddles, but the action is much lower because this is not as tall of a bridge. But definitely the bridge pickup needs to be lowered. Just as a starting point, I'm raising all of them 4 turns. Still not quite enough. That is really high. The screws are almost all the way out the bottom. Pretty pleased with the action. Pretty low, but I'm not really getting any fret buzz, but I really severely had to crank up the height of the saddles. And now is the moment of truth, testing this. First of all, that is the crazy noisy bridge pickup. Noisy as ever. This is supposed to be a humbucker. I do this. Not pretty loud. Overall, it's an improvement, but there's definitely some weird things still going on here. All right, so just a few final thoughts on the work I did today. This new pickup is much better. Still not perfect. It doesn't actually align with the E string that well, so the E string is still a bit quiet. It's not as pronounced of a problem as the G string was before, and the G string works fine with this pickup. So the pickup is definitely an improvement. Managed to make some adjustments to the positioning of this bridge pickup. That's a slight improvement. The bridge is pretty good overall. It's definitely an improvement, and I'm able to get the action really good. Intonation is no problem. It's just kind of absurd how high I have to have the saddles. It really has to do just with the angle of the neck towards the body or relative to the body. I don't know if that is intentional or if it's a manufacturing flaw. So you can really see from this angle how much the neck is not aligned with the body. It really angles backwards a lot. So that means that the height of the strings next to the bridge is way higher relative to the body than as you get over here. The bridge does allow the saddles to go high enough, though, to make it work. It just looks kind of ridiculous. But overall, this bass is still probably not something I'm ever going to use in a gig or play too seriously with, but it is getting better. These changes I'm making are improving it, and did not spend a lot of money on either the pickup or the bridge, and they are both better than the stock. So, probably just goes even further to say don't bother with Harley Benton. But, you know, I have the thing now. I might as well play around with it and see what I can do. So it's fun for that purpose, at least. Yeah, so that's it.